I'm Mark Seifter.
And I'm Landbased Palmer.
And this is Arcane Mark.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special Kraken Week episode of Arcane Mark.
For today's special episode, it's Kraken Week. But what is Kraken Week? Kraken Week is akin to Shark Week. It is a plan by a variety of tabletop RPG themed YouTubers to put on content involving aquatic and Kraken related topics all throughout this week. And for our part on Arcane Mark, we decided to do a build an NPC workshop where we're going to build a Kraken NPC. We're going to focus on the concept of the Kraken NPC so that you can use that Kraken in pretty much any tabletop RPG you're running that has Krakens in it. Like maybe not one that's like a hyper-futuristic but no fantasy creatures like space flight one or something like that.
I don't know. A space Kraken could be pretty cool. I think we could do a space Kraken.
Okay, you might be able to do a space version of this. It would have to have some adjustment. You're right. How about one that is a completely non-fantasy, like just in the modern world slice of life RPG? But I guess this is a fantasy TTRPG-ish week of Kraken, so you probably wouldn't be playing that anyway. We might go into some ideas for how to realize some of the special abilities we put into the NPC, perhaps for systems such as Pathfinder 2nd Edition or 5th Edition, but we also might not. It just depends on where the brainstorm session goes. So with that, let's get started.
So oftentimes when we do these kinds of workshops on our Twitch stream, we have a phase where we ask Twitch for concepts, and then we have folks vote on which one they want. But today we have come prepared with a concept, and that is a Kraken Pirate Queen. The idea here for this one is that there's that idea of Krakens as the monsters that will be out there and will crack open your ship and all of your treasure will sink to the bottom of the sea. But what if a Kraken wanted more than what she could simply capture by breaking open boats? What if she commanded the loyalty, either by respect or fear, of a large group of pirates who work together with her to bring her tribute, and in return she gives them her protection? Perhaps they have some way of identifying themselves as members of her fleet.
Maybe they use the K Kraken symbol from Kraken Week that is, I guess I'm pointing in the wrong direction, that is over there on the screen as like part of their pirate flag.
Yeah. So it could definitely be on the flag, and I think they want that too, so they intimidate people with the implied might of the Kraken. But if you're a Kraken and you're deep under the sea, you may not be able to see that flag. So I bet their ships have both the flag for those land dwellers and also a painting on the underside of their boat. Or
so
some
she
other
doesn't
kind of
attack one of her own allied ships by mistake?
Yeah, exactly. So she doesn't attack her own allied ships. Though if you then seized one of those boats, she might think that you were her ally, but that could be dangerous too if she caught on to what you were up to.
I could see that as a plot element if this Kraken Pirate Queen becomes a major antagonist, either like for the main campaign, or I could definitely see her as being like a B-plot antagonist for like, we've got this main campaign, but we also have to travel on the water every once in a while, and there's these issues with these pirates that are a constant thorn in our side. I think that we also want to think about what kinds of pirates does she have. If she has pirates that are just kind of like a loosely affiliated group that are all under this pirate queen, some of which are just like basic human pirates that are pretty low level, but some of which may also be powerful monstrous pirates like her, that also allows for you to fight against like some of her really mook pirates like early in the campaign, and then later come across her stronger pirates and only encounter the Kraken Pirate Queen when you're much higher level.
And I imagine that her more powerful pirates are probably closer to the center of the stronghold of her power. This also makes me think that not all of them necessarily have ships. You probably have like aquatic pirates too. All sorts of water-dwelling creatures that are going to be able to come out and attack you.
Maybe she has a large fleet with even like hundreds of small vessels of like weakling pirates overall, but she has 10 like champion pirates that are her 8 arms and her they're considered her 8 arms and her 2 tentacles.
Yes.
And the 2 tentacles are like grand strategists who can command the fleet as a proxy for her, whereas the 8 arms are the 8 most powerful like warriors among the different pirates, and many of them are also themselves like a distinct NPC, like one that's like maybe a were creature is like a werewolf or something like that in pirates. Has a crew of other were creatures that often attack on the full moon.
So that in that case, she's a leader who gives folks autonomy in how they conduct themselves and respects strength, so long as they recognize her as the ultimate authority.
That's right. I can see like a scene in a TV show of it now where they the were creature one appears on the screen and it's like Kraken Pirate Armada, 8 arms, and then they give the name of that
Arm
one.
7.
Yes. Arm 7.
Howl at the moon.
Yes. Howls at the moon. So that's sort of what I'm imagining is this sort of group of
Blood
pirates.
Moon or something like that.
Something Blood Moon.
Yeah,
maybe,
it was like so it gotta be more intense than that.
Like Jack Thor Blood Moon.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, this idea that they each have their own way, and probably each of the 8 arms also has subordinates who are weaker pirates that don't answer directly to the pirate queen because, well, she is a Kraken who you said lives deep underwater, and she doesn't have to deal with all of these mooks. She can have these middle managers who are the 8 arms.
And I'm thinking also about, like, given that she is a Kraken, the kinds of ways that she could express her wrath. When you look at, systems like D&D 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition, you see this idea of Krakens having some kind of magic that's tied to the waves and to the sky. So maybe she can create storms and things like that. And I could also see there then being superstitions about, if there's a storm, is the Kraken Queen displeased? Or like, is she, when something goes wrong, there might be some superstitions. It's not always her, but she's not really in a hurry to disabuse anyone of the notion that anything that went wrong at sea may have been her wrath.
That makes sense. I have the feeling that given that she decided she's going to have this whole fleet, that for various reasons she doesn't always want to act herself. For one, the fleet can do a lot more than she can. For two, she exposes herself if she attacks openly. Mm-hmm. So it feels to me like even if she felt like there was a group that maybe outmatched her or that proved to be dangerous, that she could use the weather to weather them down. And even maybe just summon up a maelstrom from a distance that tries to suck their ship underwater and be like, okay, I'm not sure it's a good idea for me to face them and confront them directly on their boat.
But if I shipwreck them on an island for a while.
Or if I sink their ship and they're left stranded, swimming in the water, separated from each other, they can't use the strength of their teamwork against me, and I just come up and like grab one of them and pull them down into the briny deeps. That could be to my advantage. So it feels like this pirate queen Kraken is a little more cunning and a little less of just like one of the sort of wrecker Krakens that just wants to break and destroy everything.
Yeah, absolutely. She could be one who really works on the long game.
I could also see this Kraken Pirate Queen as not necessarily being guaranteed to be an antagonist. She would be a great antagonist for if you have to get safely through an ocean area.
Yeah, but if she's not so much focused on destruction, but more in terms of amassing her own wealth and power, it could be, if you sail through the seas of the Pirate Queen and you make tribute, then you'll be okay.
Yeah, like she's ultimately greedy. So if you pay her tribute, if you make her a better offer, she might be able to help you out, and she has a lot of sway over that part of the ocean. And so she could be an interesting ally, but one you never can be completely sure that you trust beyond the weight of that gold pouch that you handed into one of her tentacles.
And I would imagine then that, like, she would be more attached to her 2 tentacles and her 8 arms. But, like, if you had some kind of a conflict with one of her lower-ranking people, she's not really going to get so involved in that, right? Like, maybe you prove that you were more capable, because just like the just like life at sea can be brutal, having these kinds of conflicts where someone gets thrown overboard or whatever, and then she's like, that's just kind of what happens. They weren't strong enough, but you're a more capable pawn or what have you.
Speaking of her using people as pawns, I could see a campaign, a pirate Kraken campaign, that if people wanted to start it for Kraken Week, where you start as these mook pirates that are at the lowest level in her organization. You're working for maybe you work for another pirate who's a direct subordinate of one of the 8 arms.
Yeah.
So you're that many levels below in this Kraken Pirate Queen's armada. And that, like, part of the campaign is dealing with, like, politics of the other subordinates of this one of the 8 arms, people coming from the other of the 8 arms, each of which have their own personalities, and maybe one of them is, like, a rival of the arm that is your boss's boss, and so they're constantly challenging you to try to like ninja loot the treasure that you're going for first.
Yeah, because just because she may not want her arms to be cutting each other off and literally killing each other at that level, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't scheme and do machinations against each other to become the more favored one in her eyes and receive more benefits.
Because if the arms don't attack the arm, but the arm's mooks can be sniping the treasure from the other one's mooks if they're rivals, and maybe there's another arm that some of their minions are doing some really mysterious stuff that seems like it could be sketchy. Maybe it's actually trying to help the pirates, but it looks bad at the beginning. Maybe it's real bad, and they have gone traitor. Maybe the entire arm has gone traitor.
Or like maybe they haven't gone traitor, but what they're doing is still like a serious problem. They're like, yes, well, we're going to raise ghost ships and capture the souls of the damned to do this kind of thing. Or we're going to like do some kind of breach the veil with an occult ritual that's going to cause other issues.
I was thinking one of the arms might just flat out be a ghost pirate on a ghost ship, just period. So that would mean that their actions always would seem a little bit weird to everyone else, because like the undead and ghost ships usually have some kind of unfinished business or something that's causing them to cling to this world. And when they're pursuing that unfinished business, it might make them act in a way that seems irrational compared to the living arms and their living subordinates. Probably the ghost arm, if there is one, would have mainly undead subordinates as well.
And that would make it interesting, too, in terms of, like, the Kraken has probably tried to engineer it so that it's going to be very difficult for this unfinished business to be resolved to keep that ghost pirate around. But resolving the unfinished business could be an interesting non-combat way to cut off that arm if you were trying to take down the Kraken Pirate Queen.
That's right. And if for playing the subordinates, you could have the PCs aim to have one of the PCs become an arm or tentacle, or even maybe the PCs have designs to usurp the Kraken Pirate Queen and become the new pirate leaders of the area. So there's all sorts of possibilities for where you could go for that with this Kraken Pirate Queen. So in terms of her ability to command like the storms and the seas, she probably also has some kind of like impressive attack using all of her arms and tentacles in a particular way. I would imagine it like letting her attack and lash out all around her, and then sort of like grapple large numbers of creatures.
Yeah, for sure.
Since she's a pirate and she likes treasure, she also might be able to steal from lots of people.
Oh, yeah. I could see her all, like, stealing from people, disarming their weapons, things like that. Just causing all sorts of mayhem. And I can see, like, when you're, there's smashing ships, but there's also things like, is she gonna, like, take the sail off to strand your ship?
Right.
Or do other things that are, like, they're not necessarily directly killing you, but they're really gonna mess you up.
And she built up a big organization, even if she's not managing every single person at the bottom. So she's got to have some charisma. She probably has some abilities that are based on her charisma and leadership, whether that's from the style of constantly intimidating people until they fall in line, and she might have an ability to make creatures frightened. Or whether that's the fact that she actually knows how to inspire pirates based on what they want, mainly greed and other things like that.
And that could be a mechanic that gives allows her to give some kind of a bonus to to her subordinates to assist them in a fight. Probably something that doesn't pay cost too heavily into her own actions and things like that, but that just kind of lets her be like, rah, get them.
That's right. Since she's a mastermind who's always certain steps in ahead, she might also have a special ability where she could like pre-roll certain number of die rolls, but that she has to assign to different subordinates. Even if she's not there right now, where she's just like, oh, when this subordinate gets into a fight, I am going to assign it to this 16 that I rolled to them. Instead of them rolling, they just take the 16.
So I'm thinking about sort of her like line of effect for these kinds of things, and I wonder if maybe she has these orb treasures called Kraken's Eyes or something like that her loyal people carry around with them, and they let her see and monitor things, but also let her like use her powers to assist them. So then maybe she might be able to tell, oh, well, they got rid of the Kraken's Eye. There's something going on over there.
So I like that. I'm thinking maybe, so on her end, she might have like some kind of crystal ballish orb that's the eye that she stares into or something like that. But maybe the Kraken's Eye that is on their end is a tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
Pirates, like, with tattoos could be a cool aesthetic. And so if they have the Kraken's Eye tattoo on, and that's something that, like, the arms and the tentacles would all have, and maybe some other high-ranking people.
And maybe there could even be, like, different levels of Kraken tattoo. It's like, oh, you're part of the organization, you get a basic Kraken tattoo. Like, it doesn't fully, like, let her see where you are, but like it gives some minor benefit or whatever, and then like the higher levels can give you more benefit but also give her more ability to make sure that you're staying in line.
I like it. It's kind of a special magic item you get for free. It kind of has that double-edged sword, kind of like the infernal contract items that were in Lost Omens Legends, where you could like sign a contract and you gain this special ability, but in exchange, the other person who gave you the contract can, like, summon you and make you fight to protect her, or can stop you from doing certain things, or can spy on you.
And if this is all connected to this, like, magic item, this kind of artifact Kraken's Eye that she has, then if somebody was seeking to seize her power and they overthrew her, or they stole the Kraken's Eye, then they would have considerable influence as well.
That would be a huge problem for her.
Yeah.
I could even see a situation where, like, another, like, rival sea creature that is worse than her greedy nature, like, maybe it's, like, an Aboleth/Algolthu type monstrosity that wants to create an apocalypse, that seizes the Kraken's Eye, and at this stage, the Kraken Pirate Queen probably has, like, butted heads with some of her pirates against the PCs. She knows how strong they are, and she, like, begrudgingly goes to the PCs to try to get help to retrieve her Kraken's Eye. Be like, you might not like me and what I do, but I think you're gonna want me to have this Kraken's Eye instead of this, like, strange, like, veiled cult master who is going to try to like bring a meteor to destroy life on this continent.
Yeah, and the PCs might decide, well, we want to keep the Kraken's Eye, so she would need to like offer them some kind of compensation.
Or it could be a situation where they make assurances to each other, with each side thinking that, yeah, right, they're gonna betray me. I need to make sure
plans for the
I need to make sure I wind up with the Kraken's Eye at the end.
Yes.
And the PCs are like, oh yeah, sure, you could have the Kraken's Eye. Guys, we're gonna get the Kraken's Eye.
Absolutely.
So I think that this Kraken Pirate Queen offers like a huge number of possible plot hooks and campaign ideas. And now I'm kind of more excited in having a Kraken for a pirate than just like a normal pirate the next time that I'm making a pirate adventure. Do you have any other ideas that you think that this Kraken Pirate Queen might be good to use for, other than like the you're just basic, you're fighting pirates, or you are a pirate?
Well, I think that, you know, if you have a society where the pirates are fulfilling other roles. Like, you know, maybe they get into some kind of like land-based crime, or even some sort of a governmental type thing where they in a port city, the pirates, because of the influence of the Kraken, wind up becoming a major political force, and so you can have land-based intrigue too, or things that have to do with like merchants and trade in a way that's.
So yeah, here's a thought,
or like protection rackets or things like that.
If the pirates might have something the PCs are looking for, let's say the PCs are looking for a particular item for some reason. And maybe because their reach of the pirates doesn't extend to the land quite so much, the Kraken Pirate Queen, though, hears about the PCs are looking around for one of these items and makes them a deal and is like, hey now, we've got this item, but I really want this other item that nobody ever brings it on sea for some reason where I can steal it. So why don't you get it? I don't, here's where it is. You should heist it. I think that's cool. But if you want to get it through legitimate means, whatever, you can. It's your, that's your situation. But then we'll trade it.
Yeah. And
then whether is she telling the truth? Are they going to have a fair deal, or is the pirate queen going to try to walk away with both treasures in the end?
Yeah. And then that could be like a cool way to get access to all sorts of things. Like, you know, is it the PCs are looking for like a specific rare item? Mm-hmm. Is it that there's something that they need as a part of a quest? Do they need to gain access to some aspect of the power of the sea to perform some kind of a ritual? There'd be a wide variety of things that they might be able to get from the Kraken Pirate Queen's treasure hoard, but the price may be pretty steep.
Absolutely. So we hope you enjoyed our workshop on this Kraken Pirate Queen. We talked about her personality, some of her special abilities that she might have, as well as different plot hooks for her. Let us know in the comments below if you have any more ideas for the Kraken Pirate Queen, or if you use her in your campaign especially. Please let us know how it goes so that we can see, and we'll get back to you on that.
Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Take care and have a great Kraken week, everyone.